On Public Eye News, 6 high school students were killed in a car crash in Oklahoma yesterday, and Michigan legislature votes to speed healthcare approvals.
Later, A.S. Sahoyan will have your weather for the weekend, and Mitchell Reif will have your sports update. Hello, I'm Susanna Gwynn.
And I'm Scott Mitchell, and this is Public Eye News. A new bill which will soon head to the desk of Governor Gretchen Whitmer will require health providers to promptly respond to doctors' requests for treatments requiring pre-approval. Under the new bill, starting in 2023, health providers will have 9 days to respond to requests for treatment, and that will drop down to 7 days in 2024. The bill has been advocated by doctors who say delays in approval from insurers has delayed health care, frustrated patients, and created unnecessary red tape. A Muskegon woman has died after she rear-ended a school bus in western Michigan yesterday. The 47-year-old woman collided with the bus in the afternoon after the school bus driver had to slow down due to traffic backup. According to police, the school bus driver was not injured and there were no children on the bus at the time of the accident.
And in Lansing, the use of red light cameras to issue traffic tickets will soon be banned in Michigan under legislation by the Senate that was approved on Tuesday and sent to the House floor for further consideration. Neither the state nor any municipalities have access to the automated cameras that have been deployed in other areas. The bill, which passed 28-10, would codify the ban in the event a future Attorney General took an alternate stance on the issue. Republican Senator Lana Thies of Brighton has said that the banning of red light cameras is to protect the lives of drivers, and the cameras are an unnecessary money grab. It is important to note that the bill does not include anything on speed limit cameras. And continuing on down to Detroit, the Michigan Supreme Court is getting more involved in the Flint water crisis after agreeing to hear arguments about whether a one-person grand jury violates the state constitution. On Wednesday, the court added Nick Lyon's case to their May 4th agenda. 9 people, including former Governor Rick Snyder, have been indicted by a judge who was acting as grand juror while considering documents presented by the Attorney General's office. Nick Lyon, the former state health director, is charged with involuntary manslaughter based on the theory that he failed to alert the public about Legionnaire's disease, an outbreak that occurred while Flint was using the Flint River as a water source. And the pandemic has forced millions of Americans to work from home. And even though corporations now have some employees coming back into the office, remote jobs are becoming more popular than ever. Michael George explains.
Amanda Miller can literally roll out of bed and start working. In 2020, her corporate office was shut down, and she was sent home.
I think like anybody, it was a bit of an adjustment.
But she quickly adjusted to a life without commuting.
I was able to do all sorts of things I didn't have the opportunity to do before, like, volunteering at my kids' school. I can do that regularly. Working from home, you have the opportunity to concentrate and be more focused in a way that you naturally can't in an office when there's noise.
Miller works for Dropbox, one of the several tech companies that's moved to remote work.
Is this just across the board? Every employee has the option of working remotely or virtually?
That's correct.
Eric Trickett is a vice president at the company and says the policy has helped retain current employees and recruit new ones.
Not only has this allowed us to tap into a lot more geographically distributed talent pools, but it's also really been able to see a huge uptick in just the overall interest in Dropbox. So our applicant volume nearly doubled year over year.
Many other companies are seeing similar results. On the job site Indeed.com, nearly 10% of postings are for remote workers. That's more than triple the amount from before the pandemic. And a new poll shows 82% of virtual employees enjoy working remotely.
I can use my time more efficiently and more effectively, so I think my work quality has increased.
Miller and others at Dropbox still occasionally meet in person with coworkers to collaborate at designated offices, but at-home work is here to stay. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Tragedy in Oklahoma has left 6 high school students dead after a car crash. More on that and the weather for the upcoming days right after this short break.
On Call the Midwife.
There's something I need to tell you, Philip.
Sounds serious. You're not pregnant, are you?
Mrs. Mohammed, I'm afraid you and your children have scabies.
I can't do it.
These families create a drain on finite resources.
No one has the right to decide who is worthy to be born.
It's a beautiful baby girl.
Sunday night at 8 on WNMU-TV. Welcome back to Public Eye News. I'm Ava Sahoyan here with your weather report today. Taking a look behind me at NMU's campus, you can see we've got quite a bit of snow melted, and that will likely continue into this week. Today's conditions in Marquette is 35 degrees, partly cloudy skies, winds out of the north at 12 miles per hour, and a barometric pressure of 29.74 inches and falling. Looking across the Upper Peninsula, starting in beautiful Marquette is 35 degrees, Houghton is 40 degrees, Ironwood 35 degrees, Iron Mountain is 41, Menominee is 42, Escanaba is 39 degrees, going over to Manistee is 39 degrees and snowing, and in Sault Ste. Marie it is also snowing and 38 degrees. Looking into tonight's conditions, we're seeing some partly cloudy skies, a low of 24 degrees, and winds out of the west-northwest at 9 miles per hour. Tomorrow's conditions are partly cloudy with a chance of snow, a high of 41 degrees, a low of 25, and winds out of the west at 12 miles per hour. Looking into later this week, starting on Saturday, we've got a high of 31, a low of 14, and wind gusts. Sunday is a high of 20, a low of 14, and cloudy skies. Monday, also cloudy skies, a high of 28, and a low of 18. And up next is international news.
Thanks a lot, Ava. Tragedy has struck Oklahoma, and with a car crash that has left 6 teenage girls dead. Yesterday, the small car they were in collided with a large truck that was carrying rocks. The car, which only had 4 seats, was traveling from a high school, and the girls were on their lunch break when the accident occurred. Those killed in the crash included a 16-year-old, 3 15-year-olds, and 2 17-year-olds. As of now, the cause of the crash is still under investigation. As the marijuana industry continues to grow and investments get higher and higher throughout the state, a new threat is facing those in the cannabis industry. Recently, chemically manufactured THC, which can be grown cheaper and much more quickly than traditional THC, has become the new rage for marijuana consumers. Although those in the industry say the unregulated and brand new method has its negative side effects. Experts warn that chemically manufactured THC has health effects we simply just do not know yet. And Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's Supreme Court confirmation hearing wraps up later today. Tension and emotions ran high yesterday when Jackson faced some of the toughest questions yet from Republican senators. Nicole Killian has more.
I love this country because I love the law.
Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson welled up on her final day of questioning.
The chairman refused to allow a witness to answer a question. You can bang it as loud as you want.
It was punctuated by several contentious exchanges, beginning with South Carolina's Lindsey Graham, who needled the judge over everything from whether she watched Justice Brett Kavanaugh's hearings.
He was ambushed. How would you feel if we did that to you?
To relentless questioning over her sentencing record in child exploitation cases.
Wait a minute, Judge. You think it is a bigger deterrent to take somebody who's on a computer looking at sexual images of children in the most disgusting way is to supervise their computer habits versus putting them in jail?
No, Senator, I didn't say versus.
That's exactly what you said.
To see the badgering of this woman as she's trying to testify, I thought was outrageous.
To people who felt your line of questioning was inappropriate, you say what?
That she would not answer my question.
It was a refrain echoed by other committee Republicans relitigating the same claims.
I'm sitting here asking you, and you're declining to answer.
I've explained how the guidelines work. Judges all over the country are grappling with how to apply this guideline. Do you have other questions for me?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Senators on both sides of the aisle tried to turn down the dial.
I'm going to try and spread some aloha into this room.
I think we should recognize that the jackassery we often see around here is partly because of people mugging for short-term camera opportunities.
But it was New Jersey's Cory Booker who delivered this closing argument.
And you did not get there because of some left-wing agenda? You got here how every black woman in America who's gotten anywhere has done. You have earned this spot. You are worthy. You are a great American.
There were other notable issues raised. For instance, Judge Jackson said she would recuse herself from an upcoming Supreme Court case on affirmative action involving her alma mater, Harvard, if confirmed. The committee is expected to vote on her nomination April 4th. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
We'll be right after this break with your sports update. Stay tuned.
मेरे लिए तो बहुत ही रिस्की है।
तो इन दबंग लोगों ने क्या किया, उसको पत्थर मारकर हत्या कर दी।
औरतों के हाथ में अगर पावर हो तो वो क्या कर सकती हैं। मेरा दिल हौसला देता है।
Monday night at 10 on WNMU-TV.
And in the sports world, 2 more teams have qualified for the World Cup this fall after Japan won 2-0 in a dramatic game against Australia. This win puts Japan top of their group, giving them automatic qualification. The win also confirms Saudi Arabia achieved enough points for automatic qualification, finishing second in the group. Kiru Matoma, who is at Union SG in Belgium, scored both goals to give Japan the win. Australia, who finished third in the group, will move on to the final path to qualification, which will place them in the third place team from Asian qualifier Group A. The winner of this match will move on to the Intercontinental Playoff, which will determine the last 2 spots for the World Cup. The World Cup will begin this November. And just earlier today in Salt Lake City, Republican governors in 2 states rejected the legislation banning transgender players from girls' sports. There are some remaining fractures among GOP leaders over how to navigate gender's reemergence as a culture war issue. Utah Governor Spencer Cox and Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb vetoed bills passed by state lawmakers that would ban transgender girls from participating in gender-designated youth sports. Still, those decisions to buck the party's conservative wing could prove short-lived against a fired-up GOP base and lawmakers angling to overrule the governors. Their opposition to the ban puts them at odds with some of their more high-profile counterparts in states such as Iowa, Florida, and South Dakota, where politically governors have leaned into the debates as LGBTQ Americans have grown increasingly visible in society and pop culture. And in New York City's mayor will announce later today that he's exempting athletes and performers from the city's vaccine mandate, a move that will allow Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving to play home games and unvaccinated baseball players to take the field when the season begins. The announcement will be effective immediately, and according to a person familiar with the upcoming announcement, Adams had said he felt the vaccine rule was unfair when it came to athletes and performers because of the hole in the measure that allowed visiting players and performers who don't play or work in New York to play even if they are unvaccinated. Irving, who is a vaccine holdout, had been among the most high-profile people impacted. He was able to rejoin the team in January, but only when they played out-of-town games. But that's not the only weird stories we have today happening in sports. Suzanne has some stories about a lion in Romania.
Yes, almost 5,000 miles away from New York in Romania, a lion named Simba and a wolf named Akila have been evacuated from a zoo in war-torn Ukraine and brought to safety in Romania. The adult male gray wolf and lion were both fully awake during their transport due to lack of tranquilizers in Ukraine. The animals were finally able to be transferred from Ukraine when 2 men from the UK agreed to transport the most ferocious of cargo. And adding even more stress to the journey, the van could not get permission to cross into Romania at many of the border points and had to transport over 600 miles through the Carpathian Mountains instead to seek safety. And shifting over to Massachusetts, with rising gas prices, one man claims he has found the answer to beating the pain at the pump. Rick Madeira of Fall River has taken up the electric unicycle to work, saving both money and gas, cutting his commute time in half. He has said that although he can ride on the sidewalk, he prefers to ride on the road and encourages reflective gear and being kind to pedestrians. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Susanna Gwynn.
And I'm Mitchell Reif.
For everyone here, thank you for tuning in to Penn, and we'll see you tomorrow for another edition.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.